Hey guys, awesome job with week one. We are almost done with week one, and I wanted to go over a couple questions that people have been asking, some of the things that just have come to mind to me throughout the week so that we can make sure that we end week one strong and start week two off with a bang. So I'm super, super excited. You guys are doing an awesome job. I know that it's hard. I am in the trenches with you. This is definitely, it's a hard thing to, restart and start fresh. And that's why this group is 12 weeks long, because there's going to be struggles, there's going to be challenges, and I want us to make sure that we're working through them so that this becomes a lifestyle, not just a 21-day thing or a 30-day thing or an 8-week thing, but really it becomes like a solidified lifestyle that we can work on together. So while I was going to the grocery store today, I was thinking to myself, you know what, people probably don't really know like what I'm eating, and so I wanted to just share with you a couple things. Yellow containers specifically, because that's a container that I struggle with most, besides like getting in enough protein with the red containers, but I would love to go over on yellows every single day. So a couple things. Ezekiel bread is the sprouted grain that they talk about in the yellow container. However, I know that a lot of grocery stores don't carry it. And so I'm trying really hard not to eat bread, because that's a total trigger for me. I can go totally overboard on that. But what I do have, and I don't know if this is everywhere either, but this is called Nichols Multigrain Light Bread, and it's 35 calories per slice, and it's essentially air. That's essentially what this bread is. It doesn't have a ton of substance. It doesn't have really much at all. The first ingredient is water. So like literally when I say air, like this is just a lot of air that tastes like bread. And so I count 2 slices of this as one yellow container. And 35 calories a slice. Like it's really, like low, but there's grains, like I can see the grains in it. And so I always look like if you're, looking for a grain bread, I would definitely suggest like seeing it, but the sprouted grains are better for you. And that's where the Ezekiel bread comes in. I haven't heard of any other kind of like sprouted grain bread. The nice thing about Ezekiel bread is that it's frozen, so it's easy to just like take out a slice at a time, instead of, this bread goes bad pretty quickly. So that's kind of my bread suggestion for you. The next one is pasta. Now, I hate whole wheat pasta. I just do. I hate it. I think it's gross. That said, regular pasta isn't good for you at all. So what I like to do is I do the Berea Protein Plus, and I have been eating this kind of pasta for a long time because it's kind of the best of both worlds. The initial ingredient is wheat, but it has a legume flour blend, which is really nice because it adds a lot of extra protein. So there's like 10 grams of protein in one serving of this, which I struggle to get in protein, so it's good for me to have extra protein. And I like that it's got a legume flour blend in it. And so it's not as soft as, the initial kind of pasta, but it's not as hard as whole wheat pasta. Like the texture of it is just not good for me. Like I just don't like it. So that's what I use. And again, obviously there's not a ton of yellows in the program, so it's just a small little amount of this. So that is that. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was almond milk, because I've been getting this question a little bit. I talked to a few coaches last weekend about it, and I hadn't heard this, but apparently almond milk, the reason that it's in the only have it 3 times a week section is because it's processed. And this program overall is really just about whole foods, so that you're not eating a bunch of processed stuff. That said, apparently Autumn has talked about this with different people and in different, social forums and stuff, and says, you know what, it's okay if you have almond milk every day. And I've read a lot about almond milk over the past couple of years. And again, like that bread is essentially air, almond milk is essentially water, and there's not that much to it. And for me, I need to be getting a lot more calcium because I don't like dairy very much or sources of calcium. So I use it for that source as well. So I've been, and the first time I did this program, I followed the like only 3 days a week was having almond milk. My shakes were not as delicious. I always use almond milk in my shakes. It makes it like a little bit creamier than just water. But definitely use the unsweetened kind. And if you want to have it every week and not count it as a container at all, I'm okay with that. I don't think that it's going to drastically, if you're drinking a ton of it, obviously, but if you're just having it, a cup a day, no big deal. Don't worry about it. Also, you guys are doing an awesome, awesome, awesome job counting your containers. And I know it gets hard, and I know it can be a pain, but I think it's really good for us to visualize exactly what we're doing and to know, if you go over or not. Like yesterday, I went over on greens for sure. I went over on blues. I went over on, what else did I go over on? I went over on a few things, and I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'm tracking it, and I'm tracking what I'm going over so I can be aware of where things are. And so it's okay if you go over. It happens, and just try really hard to get all those containers in, because I know a lot of you are struggling with getting them in. So what I would say to you is work really hard on getting them in first. Make that your first thing. The very first time I did this program, this is what I did. It was a lot of food for me, a lot of vegetables, a lot more protein than I was used to. So I got in all of my containers first. And then if I wanted something, because I have a huge sweet tooth, I really do. Like the past 2 days have been like sweet tooth, need a lot of chocolate, and I haven't had it. I have had, like my dark chocolate squares, but I've been wanting cookies real bad. So what was it? Where was I going with that? I was going somewhere with that. This happens to me a lot. My dad has this too, where he just forgets what he's talking about. I don't remember. If I remember, I'll come back to it. Crap, I hate it when that happens. Your container counts going over. I don't know. It's okay to go over. Just make sure you keep counting them. Oh, try to get all your containers in at first, and then if you have any room left and you're still having like a huge, massive sweet tooth, go ahead and have something small. Don't go overboard and don't eat like 12 cookies, but go ahead and have something small as long as you get all your containers in. I did this the first time I did this program, and I found that as long as I was getting all my containers in, I was so full that I wasn't even wanting anything else. So maybe that will be something that will work for you. It's kind of like an incentive to get all of your containers in. But don't go overboard on it. So if you feel like you can't do any sweets, then don't do it. It's okay. So weekend struggles. I wanted to kind of transition into weekend struggles since we're in the weekend. I know that they can be hard. And so I want to tell you one thing. Stay away from alcohol. I know that can be really tough. It's okay, to have a drink during the week, but I will tell you from personal experience, I have gone many months without alcohol at all in my programs that I've done, and my results are always better when I don't have alcohol. Always a lot better, like very significant when I don't have alcohol. And I don't drink very much. I mean, I'm talking like maybe a couple drinks a week. Like that's it. And when I don't have those couple drinks a week, my results are so much better. And so I would encourage you, if results are something that you're really, 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 wanting, which I am right now, I would highly suggest not having any alcohol. Just skipping it altogether. If you do have it, I would suggest this brand called Truly Spiked and Sparkling. It is sparkling water that is spiked with some sort of like malt alcohol, I think. It's very, very light. It only has 2 grams of carb, 1 gram of sugar. But I mean, obviously very processed, but the stuff that they use in it is actually pretty overall good versus, the normal kind of alcohol. So that's the alcohol that I would suggest if you feel like you need a drink or something like that. That's the alcohol that I would suggest. For me right now, it's not really worth it because I want some really great results. So it just depends where you are, what your goals are, and what you're wanting to achieve, because everybody's different. So if you want some kick butt results at the end of this, I would suggest staying away from the alcohol. And, if you go in spurts where you want to have one weekend and don't want to have one another weekend, that's okay. It's okay. But that's something that I would definitely tell you makes a huge impact on your results. Whether we like it or not, it just does. Restaurants. This is another area and I'm sorry this video is going kind of long. I just have some things that I really want to tell you guys about. So restaurants, they can be tricky. Make sure you're tracking. I would tell you when you order to make sure that when you order, say, with my meal, can you bring me a container, like a to-go container? That way you can already portion out what you want to have on your plate. And at this point, you can probably visualize pretty well. I mean, I would definitely still continue using your containers, but when you're at a restaurant, you can probably visualize pretty well how many containers you're seeing on a plate if you've been measuring all week. And I would continue measuring because it's really going to help solidify how much is in each container. If you're feeling bold and you want to take your containers to the restaurant, I know people who have done that. You can do that as well. Restaurants can be hard though. It can be really hard and you're going to be like, oh, but I really want this and I really want this. Remember your goals. Remember why you're doing this. And I will tell you, I know it's hard. I've been there. I was there yesterday when I had to get a grilled chicken salad, and I wanted a friggin' sub sandwich, and I wanted a Toll House brownie sundae. That's what I wanted. True, real life. That's exactly what I wanted, but I didn't. I got a grilled chicken salad and water, and then when I came home, I had my shake. That's what I did. So the healthy lifestyle, but that said, I know I feel so much better right now than I did a week ago when I was in my hangover from freaking Christmas cookies and everything else that I'd been eating like crap for a long time. So know that it's worth it. Like, yes, I'm a huge sweet tooth person. Like, I love chocolate and cookies and brownies and all of that stuff. Like, I love that as much as anybody else, probably more than anybody else, because I'm telling you, when I have cookies, like 12 isn't enough. It's just not, because that's how much I love cookies and sugar and all that stuff. And so I'll tell you, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it to feel as good as you're going to feel, and as good as you probably do feel this week, eating with what your body needs and the fuel that it needs. So continue doing that. Continue recognizing how you're feeling during this process, because that's going to be a big, huge motivator to keep you going. Because I know that I already feel a lot better. And so I'm hoping that you do too. Let's see. What helps me most with nutrition? Mapping it out. Making sure that I have a game plan for dinners. When I have a game plan for dinners and breakfast and Shakeology, I can piece the rest in, because my breakfast is always half of a green, one red, and sometimes half of a blue. My dinners, I'm going to look up some dinners and then I'm going to figure out what those containers are. My Shakeology is typically 2 reds, purple, and some tablespoons. That's usually so everything else I can kind of puzzle in between. So that's what I do. I map it out. I map out my dinners for the week and leftovers for the week, and then I kind of place things together and use my tracker app to fill in the in-betweens. Let's see. And then I just want to tell you guys, don't give up. Don't give up. I know that we're only a week into this. It can seem like 11 more weeks is a long way to go, but you guys are in this for a lot longer than that. This is about a lifestyle change. This is about fitting this into your lifestyle, making sure that you are fully, engaged in how your body feels and what you're fueling it with and how you're treating it. I posted earlier today on social media that I walked by a little lady going into the pharmacy, and she was using a cane. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm so sore. I'm waddling right now. But I'm so grateful that I get to work out, because that little old lady using her cane, like, she can't work out like I can. And so I'm blessed to be able to work out this hard, and I'm blessed to be able to, walk really quickly in and out of the grocery store and have all of those things. So recognize how blessed you are to be able to do this, and know that your body is going to take you, a lot further than just the here and now, because you've got a long way to go. You've got a long way to go, and you only get one body, you only get one life to live. So let's make it a great week, and I can't wait to see what your answers are to the questions. I'm sorry that it takes me a little bit longer to get back to you. I just really want to make sure that I'm like diving in and really reading and understanding, and I'm taking notes on some of the things that you guys are messaging me about, because I know that we're going to need to come back to it, throughout this challenge. So I'm really excited. Sorry that was a really long video. And if you have any questions, feel free to just send me an email or message, and we'll talk soon. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.